Are you slouching right now? Like, check your posture right this second.
Oh, I bet a lot of people just sat up straight.
Right. Are your shoulders rolled forward? Is your neck craned down? Because today we are proving that your mental health isn't just, you know, in your head.
No, it is literally in your spine.
Exactly. Usually, when we think about emotional well being, we picture it as something happening entirely in this invisible realm of our
Yeah,
thoughts.
like it's just a software issue.
But our mission in this deep dive is to decode the surprising, everyday physical habits that are, well, secretly controlling your emotional state.
Because we've spent decades separating the mind and the body, we treat them like two completely different operating systems.
Right.
But the reality is they share the exact same hardware. I mean, the architecture of your mood is built directly on the foundation of your physiology.
It's highly entangled hardware. And to guide us through this, we are unpacking a fantastic transcript from the popular psychology channel Psych2Go.
Yeah, the video is called 10 Habits That Boost Your Emotional Well-Being.
And the absolute biggest twist in this source material is the revelation that emotional health is undeniably rooted in what your physical vessel is actually doing throughout the day. Like, it's not just about thinking happy thoughts.
Not at all. I mean, if the physical foundation is crumbling, all the positive thinking in the world isn't going to hold the house up.
Yeah, it's just positive thinking in a collapsing building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have to look at the baseline physical scaffolding first before we even touch on, complex emotions.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with that physical scaffolding, which brings us right back to why I asked you, the listener, to check your posture.
The slouching.
The slouching. The Psych2Go source highlights this study from the Journal of Behavior Therapy and Experimental Psychiatry.
Quite a mouthful, but a great study.
Totally. And it turns out having an upright posture isn't just about, like, looking confident or keeping your chiropractor happy. It actively alters your brain chemistry.
Which is just wild to think about.
It really is. The study found that adopting an upright posture increases positive affect, it reduces fatigue, and actually decreases self-focus in people dealing with mild to moderate depression.
And the mechanism behind that is a fascinating biofeedback loop. Like, when you slouch, you physically compress your chest cavity.
Right, you're literally folding in on yourself.
Yes, so your breathing becomes shallower, and that means less oxygen is making it to your brain. On top of that, taking up less physical space is, well, it's a universally recognized evolutionary stance of defeat.
Or submission, right?
Exactly. So your brain registers that physical compression and interprets it as data. It basically assumes, oh, we are in a submissive, defeated posture. We should dial up the fatigue and lower our mood to match.
That is wild. So by simply straightening your spine, you interrupt a neurological signal telling you to be depressed.
Yeah, you're overriding the system manually.
You're mechanically forcing the chest open, taking deeper breaths, and signaling to the brain that you are, engaged.
Spot on. And speaking of the baseline physical system, we cannot look at the architecture of mood without examining the ultimate maintenance cycle.
Sleep.
Sleep. The source material puts a huge emphasis on sleep hygiene for a very specific physiological reason.
So what does this all mean for the age-old concept of mind over matter? Like, are we actually looking at matter over mind when a slump of the shoulders or a missed hour of sleep completely dictates our emotional state?
It really seems that way, yeah.
I mean, skipping sleep feels somewhat like refusing to take out the brain's trash. If you just leave it there, the garbage ferments in the kitchen.
That is a perfect way to describe it.
Right. You can try to ignore the smell with all the positive affirmations you want, but the garbage is still rotting in the corner.
What's fascinating here is how perfectly that taking out the trash analogy aligns with the actual neurology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that fermenting garbage isn't just a metaphor. During the day, as your neurons fire and your brain works, it produces literal metabolic waste products.
Like exhaust from a car.
Exactly, including a protein called beta amyloid. And when you fall into deep sleep, this mechanism called the glymphatic system kicks in.
The glymphatic system.
Right, and the glial cells in your brain actually shrink by up to 60%.
Wait, they physically shrink?
Yes, they shrink specifically to expand the space between the cells.
Wow.
This allows cerebrospinal fluid to rush through the brain and wash all that metabolic waste, the daily trash out of your system.
So if you pull a late night or, doom scroll until 3:00 a.m., and if you are listening to this session at 3:00 a.m., go to sleep.
Seriously, turn it off and sleep.
If you do that, that wash cycle never happens. The waste just builds up.
Yep. The physical state is compromised, which means the baseline of your emotional resilience is completely shattered.
So the moment that resilience is tested the next day by, say, a stressful email or a rude driver or just a difficult conversation,
You simply don't have the biological resources to handle it. You snap.
because your brain is swimming in yesterday's metabolic waste.
Exactly. Your fuse is biologically shortened. And this introduces a really dangerous secondary mechanism.
How so?
Because if poor physical habits, like the slouching and sleep deprivation, can destroy your mental state, the reverse is equally potent.
Poor mental habits can actively destroy your physical health.
Precisely. We are moving from the physical scaffolding into the pressure cooker.
The pressure cooker. Yeah, the Site2Go transcript brings in findings from anger management coach Dr. Schinnerer regarding the suppression of emotions.
Which is something we all do,
It
right?
constantly. Society basically trains us that if we push anger down and ignore it, it just goes away. We want to be professional, we want to be polite, so we just swallow the frustration.
The issue is that the body doesn't know you're trying to be polite.
It really doesn't.
Emotion is an entirely physical event. When you get angry, your amygdala sounds an alarm, triggering a massive release of stress hormones.
Primarily cortisol and adrenaline, right?
Yeah. Your heart rate spikes, your blood vessels literally constrict, and your muscles tense up. Your body is preparing you for a physical confrontation.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because treating those negative emotions feels like looking at a check engine light on a car dashboard.
Ooh, I like that.
Suppressing your anger is basically taking a piece of black tape and sticking it right over the check engine light
Yes, you haven't fixed the engine at all. You've just blinded yourself to the warning sign.
and ignored the problem.
Biologically, that check engine light is your cortisol levels spiking. By ignoring it, the engine, meaning your cardiovascular system, takes the brunt of the damage.
Right. Dr. Schinnerer's list of what suppressed anger does to the body is a stark warning. I mean, it links directly to physical ailments like obesity, migraines, high blood pressure,
Stroke.
stroke. Yeah, and it significantly increased risk of heart attacks.
Because those stress hormones are just circulating with nowhere to go. They're constantly wearing down the blood vessels.
And beyond the cardiovascular damage, those unexpressed emotions don't just remain dormant, do they?